Okay, now we're going to try to get this party started. We have untold numbers of people waiting for us on YouTube, where we are live streaming this event. This is an experiment in combining responsible social distancing with live in-person participation. So can everybody hear me okay? I don't want to take you away from your conversations, but everybody's been waiting a while, and we're waiting for some people that got diverted to the Bay Area, but we're going to start our program. I thank everybody for coming and for the support that we have received from really a good cross-section of our energy and environmental community. I want to particularly thank Dan Kim and Westland Solar Partners for their sponsorship, which just came in today. And I also want to recognize the Baker family winery for the wine that we have received at such an extraordinary discount tonight. And we want to specifically honor the founder of Baker Family Winery, our friend Dusty Baker. So whatever y'all think of the Houston Astros, we're for Dusty, okay? And we look forward to having him with us. In case you all don't know, Dusty has a strong interest in solar and renewables, has used solar at his winery, and is also engaged in some development of solar projects through his Baker Energy team. So anyway, we're honored to have his support and engagement, and we wish him well during the rest of the baseball season. So we do this award event in part to gather the clan and bring everybody together. And you know, the last one of these we did in December, honoring our friend Mary Nichols as she retired from the Air Resources Board, and we did that one by Zoom. And it was a lovely event, but it's just not the same as having everybody together. So we wanted to try to bring the in-person part back. And so that's what we're doing, and we're glad that y'all braved the restrictions to join us. So I'm going to start with our award presenting. We have some disconnect between our honorees and their ability to be here in person, so you have to bear with me. We're going to do as much of the program as we can, but we are missing some of the people. So our first honoree is actually a group of honorees. It's LA Mayor Eric Garcetti and Team LA 100. And that Team LA 100 includes the general manager and the deputy general manager of LADWP, Martin Adams, and his deputy, Rico Kerr, as well as the mayor's staff and the staff from NREL, Jason Rondu, who's leading the team. And what's important about the Mayor Garcetti and Team LA 100 is that it isn't just a politician doing a press release and then getting some credit and moving on. This is a whole sea change that has occurred in Los Angeles. And you know, we are proud to have been working on trying to green LA for more than 20 years, beginning when Dave Freeman was first general manager at LADWP, and our friend Rhonda Mills, who's not with us tonight, but we spent a lot of time working LADWP. And if you'd have told me then, in 2002, 2003, that we would be 18, 19 years later, honoring LADWP as the leader in all of California on greening the grid, I would have told you that that's unlikely, you know. On the other hand, what we know about public power, and this has also been manifested in SMUD recently with the adoption of the SMUD Clean Energy Plan, and I want to first of all recognize we have board members, several board members here from SMUD. We have Heidi Sanborn, we have Dave Tamayo, we have Rosanna Herber, and we have Greg Fishman, who should be our county supervisor, but we didn't give him enough money. So, but we're glad that he's still on the SMUD board. But it's important to recognize that the two most significant actions this year on 100% clean energy have occurred in the corridors of public power, in LADWP and at SMUD. And it tells us that the people and the politics are with us on this. And so in the case of Mayor Garcetti, I can remember vividly the day we had sent our staff down to LA. Jim Caldwell, who's a former assistant general manager at LADWP, we loaned him to them for 3 years and helped lay the foundation for this success, although we didn't make it out loud. There's my friend Mike Florio's with us in the house. Thank you, Mike. So, you know, we've worked on DWP a long time, and you know, what's important about this award and about this moment is that they are actually implementing this plan. This is not just the mayor. This is not just some of his staff. This is not DWP. This is the whole community, including the city council. Councilman Paul Krikorian, who some of you will remember, served up here and worked on some of our renewable energy policy, and Mike Bonin are equal partners in all this. And so what's significant about what Mayor Garcetti has done isn't just that he announced, I will remember the day he announced this, we were there to meet with the staff to lobby them to try to get them to do 100%. And suddenly the mayor said, we're not going to repower the gas plants, which was a major revelation at the time. And people were like, no, this is bullshit. You know, this is not happening. You know, Brian Darcy's going to get him in the end, and we're, you know, so forth. But in the end, it didn't happen. So LA is on its way to 100%. And so that's why we're recognizing both Mayor Garcetti and Team LA 100. We have individual plaques for the individual members of the team. We're sorry that they couldn't be here, but given that they're in LA and everything's COVID, then we understand. So we're going to now play a video from Mayor Garcetti accepting this award, which we will present to him in the fullness of time. So if we could have our audio and video crew tee up the mayor's videotape.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti.
And it is an honor, a great honor, to accept this award. I'm accepting this award on behalf of an amazing team that I'm just one part of. And I want to thank and acknowledge their work. The LA 100 study partners include my colleagues on the Los Angeles City Council, Paul Krikorian and Mike Bonin, who shared the vision that made LA 100 work, as well as the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, who had the foresight to help illuminate the vision from top to bottom. The National Renewable Energy Laboratory delivered a credible, usable, and scalable analysis, and we could not have done it without the intellectual firepower of our partners at USC and Kearns & West, as well as all the members of the Stakeholder Advisory Group who helped to establish the complex priorities of a global city. I'm so lucky to work with all of them, and LA 100 erases any doubt that a 100% renewable energy grid is achievable, affordable, and reliable. Now LA is on track to lead California and this nation into its zero carbon future. By 2030, we will be 80% renewable, 97% carbon free, with a zero carbon grid goal of 2035. We'll create 2,000 jobs a year in energy infrastructure so that we can make the most of every renewable gigawatt that we generate. And we can expand our solar resources equitably, powering up disadvantaged communities first. And we can test new technologies that lead the nation on clean energy innovation. And because of partners like you, we can dream big enough to see those goals and work smart enough to reach them. We're proud to walk with you on the path to a renewable future and a healthy planet. Thank you so much for this award.
Next, so that was very, very nice, and I just want to say that this is really a sign of the success that we're having, because this press release, this statement, this follow-through is affecting everything else. It's affecting the governor, it's affecting the PUC, and we're just grateful to LA and for SMUD for leading the way. So Now we're going to turn our attention to our next honoree, another virtual partner, Senator Nancy Skinner, who's a senator from Berkeley and who is going to have her virtual award presented by Energy Commissioner Andrew McAllister. Andrew has been on the commission and provided really, really important leadership on any number of proceedings, particularly on demand response, energy efficiency, and most recently the new building codes that put heat pumps as the baseline for new energy homes in California. He's a terrific energy leader and has some knowledge about Senator Skinner's accomplishments. So please come.
Thank you, John. It's really a pleasure to be here. It feels really weird, doesn't it, to be in person doing this? It's weird in a positive way. I was telling Tom Stars, I pulled these pants off of the coat hanger, and they had a dust line on the top of them, and I was like, oh, gotta get rid of that. So really nice breath of fresh air here to be with you all and to see so many friends. I am really honored to be able to describe the trajectory a little bit of Nancy Skinner, who is a friend and a colleague, and I think really inspiration to me. She is the best of sort of the citizen activist that has evolved into someone who really understands and utilizes with wisdom the levers of power. And in this sphere, that's what we need. We need to be pulling the levers of power. We have got to move quickly. We are in a crisis. You all are, breathing the smoke and just living daily climate change. And we're the lucky ones, right? We actually don't have to live the most extreme impacts of climate because we have the resources to avoid many of them. And we're really lucky. And most of California, most of our citizens and our residents do not have that opportunity. And I think Nancy really deeply understands that. She was elected to the Berkeley City Council as a student at UC Berkeley, which is phenomenal. I think the only, probably still the only student to be elected to the City Council. She started ICLEI, Local Governments for Sustainability. Still just a global force now. I mean, just the trajectory and the vision to get ahead of that, to understand the importance of local government. Let's see, so 2,500 local and regional governments in 125 countries now, working on their versions of sustainability. And that's a big part of Nancy's legacy. She was on the East Bay Regional Park District Board. She was a small business owner, an active advocate to increase the number of women in elected office, and served on the board of the East Bay Women's Political Caucus and launched the Women in Power PAC to support Democratic women running for state office. So she served 3 terms in the Assembly, which is really where I began to work with her. And I remember the day I walked into the Energy Commission doors after being appointed, all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and this thing called Assembly Bill 758 was plopped on my desk. Hey, you have to implement that. We haven't gotten to that. You got to do that. And that was the AB 758 was the existing building energy efficiency action plan. And I spent the first 2 years of my tenure at the Energy Commission really focused in large part on that. And that was Nancy Skinner's bill. She was always available to talk about the alleged intent, bounce ideas off of, how are we going to move the needle on this. The existing buildings really are our biggest challenge, I would say, in terms of pivoting our energy consumption to clean energy. And she understood that way before anybody else. And so put the Energy Commission in a leadership role to start thinking about that, to utilize our process, to leverage all of the good tools that she knew we had. That's why she gave it to the Energy Commission, to really move the needle. And I was just thinking about the trajectory. We've updated the 758 action plan twice. We've merged it with the SB 350 doubling of energy efficiency goals. And we've now moved it as a core topic of this year's Integrated Energy Policy Report. And so these flowers are blooming along the way, and we're starting, slowly but surely in earnest to get our heads around how we can get investment into our existing buildings. Nancy understood all of this from the beginning. This is all part of her plan. So rather than feel manipulated, I feel grateful. I think that she really put us in a position to solve the hard problems. And just today, the Assembly Utilities and Commerce Assemblyman Chris Holden's committee convened a hearing on our existing buildings and how we are going to decarbonize them. And both he and the other members there took it as a matter of fact that we have to pivot off of fossil gas onto electricity in our existing buildings. The state must do that. That just that recognition is just a phenomenal. It's monumental. It's going to take 30, 40, 50 billion dollars to do that, and we got to figure out how to find that, how to leverage, and all the good stuff. But that all, as I kind of participate, and we crank out the reports and we really try to do the good work, I consider that to be all of Nancy Skinner's legacy. And that, that's just in the energy and buildings. She's done so much other legislation. I mean, I could, if you go online, you can read all the bills that she's authored, and it's an incredible list of activities of different sectors that she is a leader in. And I think it really goes back to that she understands how to get things done, how to build coalitions. She understands the mechanisms of government, and she manages to maintain her vision and really be pragmatic about how to use those tools. And I just think there's so few elected officials that have that broad view of how to get things done, and also pair that with a true sense of public service. And so with that, I just have to hats off to Nancy Skinner. I can't imagine a better recipient, a more worthy recipient of this award. And I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do next, but but how about a round of applause for Nancy Skinner?
We will be presenting the award in person to Senator Skinner sometime between now and the end of session, I hope. For those of you that know anything about energy storage, the other bill that she did that's important to mention is that she came up with the first legislation that talked about the utilities buying energy storage. And what was clever about this bill is that it wasn't thou shalt buy energy storage. It was the PUC shall determine whether there is a need to buy and mandate energy storage, which is what she instructed the bill. So the bill kind of skated under the radar. It wasn't big controversial. Utilities didn't oppose. It was just sort of like a study bill. The PUC then turned that into what was the first utility scale mandate for storage and laid the foundation. So anyway, we're sorry she couldn't be with us, but she's with us all the time because of all the work she does. And I think Andrew gave us a wonderful illustration of how legislation sets the stage for regulatory leadership. And certainly under Andrew's time, the Energy Commission has done the most that could be done with the legislative authority they've been given, and remains the venue that we are the most comfortable working in. It's not that we don't like going to San Francisco and hanging out at the PUC. It's just that we found over the years that the Energy Commission is a place that it's accessible, the people are nice, and they seem to listen. And they have no authority, right? So they don't threaten anybody or piss anybody off, except in the case of building standards where they get a lot of attention from the builders and others. So our next virtual awardee is our friend Luis Amezcua and the Sierra Club My Generation campaign. And we honor Luis because he was the face of the community support for the leadership that LADWP has manifested. And the Sierra Club My Generation campaign, which includes some very distinguished organizers and activists, really was a partner with LADWP and Mayor Garcetti in turning LA 100 into reality. And what's significant about Luis's advocacy is that he took responsibility for the consequences of that advocacy. And so he's with the Sierra Club, but he actually supports and understood the role of transmission. and didn't come to the table with this sort of simplistic idea that all I need is rooftop solar and that I'm good. He recognized that if LA is going to get to 100%, they got to build transmission. And so his advocacy in the LA 100 project, along with my colleague Jim Caldwell, was very instrumental. In this case, the public advocacy, the public advisory committee was important and worked. But Luis didn't just work at LADWP. There was a campaign in the city of Glendale. They had a gas-fired power plant called the Grayson Power Plant, which was old and needed to retire, and the staff's view was, let's replace that gas plant with another gas plant. But with Luis sort of riding point and local advocates helping out, they turned that decision around and didn't build the gas plant. Now they're still maybe talking about building 50 megawatts, but they're not going to build 280. And they're going to do storage and batteries and the things that we've been recommending. And then also SMUD, you know, the Sierra Club My Generation campaign, you know, it isn't just that we have a good board at SMUD or a good staff, but we also have a good community of folks that are active. And, you know, my friend Heidi Sammer was saying, there's not another campaign against the SMUD board for not doing enough. Come on, guys, let's have a little credit. But in fact, advocacy is impatient. Advocacy is never satisfied. But the fact is, advocacy makes things better. And so that's why we're honoring Luis and the My Generation campaign. Luis wanted to be with us. He's actually become a member of the CEERT board and is part of our family, although I must say Panama Bartholomew stole him from the Sierra Club, and he's now working on the Building Decarbonization Coalition. But we're for Building Decarb. We're their fiscal sponsor, so it's good. But we didn't want to ignore the role of the citizens and the community advocacy in the successful outcomes that we've had. And so that's why we're honoring Luis. And to accept the award on his behalf and the behalf of the My Generation campaign is Igor Trigub, who's a Sierra Club volunteer and is here to accept Luis's award.
Thank you. It is my honor to accept this award on behalf of the Sierra Club. I want to particularly recognize the Sierra Club My Generation team and Luis Amezcua, who you basically said everything that was in my speech and more. And Luis would have been here but for an unfortunate death in his family, so he is out of the country right now. They deserve all the credit, and this award is for them. What we accomplish together, all of us, is nothing short of phenomenal. With our partners, especially CEERT and the Glendale Environmental Coalition, we talk about shutting down that plant in Glendale, the Sierra Club successfully led a campaign to redirect resources towards clean energy procurement at the LADWP, rather than repowering more than 1,600 megawatts of gas, one of the largest gas retirement announcements in the nation. Again, with the integral support of CEERT and so many others, we delayed the repowering of the Grayson power plant in Glendale, which is now on track to being replaced by a 100% clean energy portfolio. We worked with labor and community organizations to implement procurement standards for equity and the workforce, and more than 5,000 megawatts of new clean energy resources, especially at CCAs, have been procured under these new equity and labor standards. Together, we shepherded more than 2,000 megawatts of clean energy resources through the permitting process in the last few years, such as Economist, a project in the Tri-Valley, not too far from me. That was a slog over a year and a half, not over yet, but we are getting there, and the Board of Supervisors unanimously approved it, although it's under litigation now, but hoping for the best. And the Moss Landing battery projects and others. Recognizing that just transition is more than just a buzzword or two buzzwords. In February 2019, we launched the first Big Green and EJA network partnership in the nation in collaboration with the California Environmental Justice Alliance. This campaign, which some of you know as Regenerate California, is focused on implementing a just transition away from gas-fired power plants with a priority on environmental justice communities. In partnership with CEJA, we have built a strong base of EJ volunteers and communities to mobilize at the CPUC on numerous consequential decisions relating to the power sector and having a say at the table in the decision-making process. We also played a key role in SMUDs, and thank you all the SMUD folks that made this possible. I think we may have a Brown Act violation. So many of you are here. Thank you so much for your work on this. It's the zero carbon plan that you adopted earlier this year and worked with the utility to put its gas-fired power plants on track towards retirement no later than 2030, with a priority for the power plants in environmental justice communities. Our grassroots campaign also achieved the development and finalization of the LA 100 plan, one of the most comprehensive plans in the nation for achieving a clean 100% clean energy future with a full economy-wide decarb, including port, transportation, and building electrification. While we're being awarded today, there's no possible way we could have done it ourselves. And a huge thank you must go out to our partners at CEERT, CEJA, and all of our volunteers and staff who couldn't be here today. It takes a village to run successful campaigns, and campaigns require resilience and dedication. Climate change, as you all know, is one of the most pressing challenges of our time. It requires all of us to be a part of it and provide our unique contribution to the movement. I look forward to continuing our work together. And in the same breath, I want to challenge all of us. I want to challenge ourselves to keep up the pressure. It has been our experience that government tends to make the most short-sighted decisions, such as bringing peaker plants back online in times of crisis, like the one we have right now. We must work together to ask decision makers at every level of power, what are the true costs of inaction or action in the wrong direction? At a time of the most pronounced signs of climate change we have ever seen, and the worst drought and wildfires to have ever impacted our Golden State, it bears remembering that 1.2 gigawatts of rooftop solar and 633 megawatts of distributed solar-charged batteries, it's the largest battery installation in the world, is in your garage, have helped take several gas plants off the grid while making the grid more resilient. The Sierra Club is working today and every day to defend foundational policies like net energy metering. And we look forward to continuing our work with everyone here and our partners at CEERT to tackle the climate crisis in an equitable and just way and move us forward at a time when all that we love and all that we care about is on the line. Thank you.
Thank you again. In my enthusiasm, I forgot that I had asked Dan Jacobson to help present this award. So I want to call Dan up because now come on, Dan, you got to come up. Because when I was listening to Igor describe how you do campaigns, I was thinking of Dan because that's what he does. So
I really don't have anything to add. That was a fantastic speech. Thank you very much. Thank you for the honor. It's been great opportunity to receive that award in the past and to listen to you accept that award for Luis. I would ask for a moment of silence for Luis's grandmother who passed away. So let's just all take one moment. We know that Luis is a real fighter on these issues, and we wish him the best going forward.
we do.
Thank you.
Come here, let's have a picture.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.
So Thank you all for hanging in with us. Our final award this evening is for our friend and the dearly departed William Perea Marcus. Bill Marcus was a legend in the clean energy world for decades. His leadership and vision and hard work and green eye shade, attention to detail, enabled us to make some very important and momentous clean energy decisions. Going back to the closure of Rancho Seco, he was the original architect of the analysis that showed that it would be more expensive to operate than to shut down, all the way through the first study we did at LA Department of Water and Power about doing renewables. He helped us so many times. It's like there was almost like a formula. It's like, okay, we need a Bill Marcus study. We need Bill to guide the way. My friend Don Fields over here worked with me and Bill on a campaign in the aftermath of the energy crisis where we took on the dirty dozen power contracts that had gotten signed by Dave Freeman and Mike Peavy, and Bill, basically, we showed how to fix them. And we didn't just say they were bad, we showed why they were bad and how the terms should be adjusted. And in fact, a later negotiator for the Department of Water Resources told me that they used Bill's report as the guide to renegotiating the contracts, which Gray Davis, before he was recalled, said we can't renegotiate. But as Don said, you can always renegotiate something if it becomes controversial, and that proves to be the case. So, but the other thing about Bill that I want to say before I introduce our presenter, Mike Florio, who worked with Bill, is just what a human being he was. What a man he was. I mean, anybody that goes to Harvard and has his principal hobby be Bulgarian folk dancing, you got to know that's a Renaissance man in the making. And he spoke fluent French. He traveled and knew the French cuisine and French landscapes, and he worked hard, but he also managed to play some. So we think of him all the time. We're so sorry that we lost him this year, but he went out with grace and dignity. And so he said to me, you know, I always wanted to get one of those Clean Power Champion Awards. I said, well, I think we can arrange that. So with that as my personal introduction, I want to introduce Mike Florio, who was a longtime colleague of Bill, former Public Utilities Commissioner and consumer advocate extraordinaire. And Mike, please tell us more about Bill.
Well, thank you, John. It's indeed an honor to be here to honor Bill Marcus. I think I first met Bill within a year of starting my career as a consumer advocate with Turn, and he was truly amazing. I was thinking on my drive up here how to characterize Bill, and the best term I could come up with was the happy warrior. Although his weapons were not lethal, they were spreadsheets, charts, and graphs, but Bill was a warrior, and he always did it with a smile. It was absolutely amazing how Bill could remember what every party had said in every other proceeding and use that against them when they contradicted themselves, which of course he never did himself. And Bill could tackle an application and find the holes in it quickly and incisively, and always with a chuckle. It was truly a unique experience working with him. He also saw a way to blend common interests. Bill worked for consumers, for the environment, for independent generators, and was amazingly skilled at identifying where the points of commonality were and bringing those sometimes disparate groups together behind a common cause. And again, always with a smile. I can remember so many phone calls from Bill where he found the flaw in some proposal that had been presented to the PUC, and he would explain it in a way that few could understand, but all appreciated. And then he'd always have that classic cackle at the end, like, I got them again. And you know, I think on a personal note, there was a period when I was going through some tumult in my career and thought I might need to look for a new job, and I was just talking to Bill to commiserate, and as soon as the words were out of my mouth, he said, "Well, come to work for us," which really put my mind at ease. I was just always in awe of Bill's analytical capabilities, and over many years of working together, I learned to channel Bill and sometimes put what he had developed so eloquently on a spreadsheet into something that you could sell to a decision maker. But Bill was just, even this last year, he was still doing testimony for turn in rate cases. And as his illness began to overtake him, I got a call from a turn attorney saying, Bill may not be able to defend his testimony at a hearing because he's just too sick. Can you step in for him? And it was like, whoa, I've testified before the PUC a lot of times, but filling in for Bill Marcus, that's a tall order. Fortunately, it turned out not to be necessary. But Bill, just a tremendous human being. The phrase leading with love has become popular lately, but Bill was really a living example of that. And I'm only sorry that he couldn't be here himself to accept this award, because if there was ever a clean power champion, Bill Marcus embodied that term, body and soul.
Now, I want to ask Marie Perea, Bill's wife, to come and join us and receive the award.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming.
It was a long drive. Inspire comes from breathe, and that's what you guys are doing every day, different kinds of ways. And I just want to say that Bill wasn't always happy, but he loved his work. You could see his mind working. I just have to tell you this one thing: is his mind worked until the end. And my son said something, Bill, you better go to bed. It'll be better for you. And he goes, that's what she said. He walks out. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And for those of you that know Bill well and would like to attend his memorial, it's coming up on the 10th if you'd like to address, and I'll help you. Thank you, Mike. Before we go, I was just going to say Bill's memorial service is September 10th at his family home in Woodland, and anybody that would like to go, please let me know and I'll get you the details. So with that, we have
It's outside.
it's an outdoor venue where we used to play croquet. Okay. So with that, thank you all for coming. I know it was a little bit strange doing some face-to-face in the middle of the new pandemic.